YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with some more NFL content for the upcoming season. We got plenty of this content on the channel and plenty more to come, and in full coverage during the NFL season. Can't wait for the season. But this video is every single NFL team's X Factor for the 2019 season. Most dangerous player. I want to title this a little different, but new YouTube policies. I kind of talked about that on Twitter today, so you can check out our Twitter what I really wanted to title this, but we're not going to talk about that. Goat House NFL, you can see in the bottom right and in the description. That's our Twitter, where we answer any questions, talk about the NFL, and we have polls for you guys as well. 20K is our subscriber goal. Really appreciate anyone who subscribed to the channel. If you don't subscribe, we got daily sports videos. We specialize in the NFL and cover it all year. Clicking that like button, subscribe button, much appreciated. Alphabetical order with the X factors of each team. Let's get on to it. The Cardinals, David Johnson, I think could be their best player, and I think is their X factor. New offense. We can see a little bit more from him, more in the receiving game. He's just got to stay healthy, and even when he was healthy last year, a little, was off his game, I thought, a little bit. So he needs to prove more to me. We know he's a darn good running back, but he needs to prove a little more to me, and I think he can do that this year. Still a guy I'd say I'm a little scared to draft in my fantasy team, though. That's just kind of one of those guys. So that's my pick for the Cardinals. All these guys are offensive X factors, game changers. All of it kind of in one here. Atlanta, it's Julio Jones. He's their best player, and he's their X factor, no doubt about it. A receiver that's just so dangerous, can win in so many different ways, can play in the slot, can play on the outside. I don't have to break down Julio Jones here. I think he is the Falcons' X factor. Some of these won't be too surprising. Some of them I try to get a little bold here, but I'm picking the best possible X factor for each team. The Ravens is Marquise Brown. They've had one of the worst receiver units, really the sporting cast for the quarterbacks over the years, and they go out and they draft a couple receivers, and Marquise Brown is that game changer, that X factor on that team. He can throw him a screen pass, but he's even better going deep, knows how to get open. He's kind of that Tyreek Hill type player, and then he can make that impact too. So I really like him with Lamar Jackson. He's going to be all over the place and going to be hard for teams to game plan against and stop. So he is my pick for the Ravens. For the Bills, a similar style player actually in John Brown, and he came from the Ravens. I thought he was their best receiver. He's shown glimpses, and I think he's more of a deep ball guy, somewhat similar to Marquise Brown, how we just described him. And I think that works really good with Josh Allen. LeSean McCoy might be, if healthy, their best offensive player, but I think John Brown's that X factor and could be their most important player, really. It could be a number of those receivers, too. They don't have any big-time standout guys there in terms of their weapons. If LeSean McCoy stays fully healthy all year, possibly him, but they got a number of guys that can play and be this guy. I picked John Brown because of his speed and the fit with the Bills. He'll be a factor. The Panthers, I think, is a really simple one. It's Christian McCaffrey. You could say DJ Moore could be somewhat of a sleeper, but McCaffrey being that, a running back that you can give the ball to 20-plus times a game and you can throw him the ball, he can be the best receiving back in football. To me, for those reasons, this is the no-brainer. He really impressed me last year, and I think he'll do the same or more this year. I wish their offensive line was a little better. They drafted for the future, so that is good. I like McCaffrey a lot. The Bears, Tariq Cohen is, he's kind of the definition of the X factor. He's not the best, guy on that offense, I don't think. I like some of their receivers a lot. I really like Allen Robinson. I like the potential of Anthony Miller. But Cohen is Matt Nagy's X factor. That's what he is. And he can run. You can hand him the ball, and he can run, and he can go. He can line up in a slot, can line up out of the backfield, go out for the pass and catch it. That's the obvious stuff. But stuff that adds on to it, you see this guy getting counters. You don't see a guy this size getting counters and being able to, make guys miss in the backfield and get yardage on those types of plays. So he makes his way on this list for the Bears for those reasons. The Bengals, the toughest team, and doing this video, I'm always learning new stuff. Every time I do a video, I'm kind of thinking of stuff. And the Bengals, they got a legitimate big three, and I kind of knew that. But when you really get down and look at it, with AJ Green, with Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon, it was very hard for me to pick one. And there's no wrong answer with those three. And I actually went with Tyler Boyd here, and very close to going with Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon's getting better and better. He's going to step up this year. He can catch the ball out of the backfield very well. Seen him run the wheel routes down the sideline. So he belongs in the spot too. But the reason I chose Tyler Boyd is because people forget he had a 1,000-yard season, above 1,000 yards last year, very sneakily, and he's very good. I think he can play anywhere on the field as a receiver. And I'm kind of going back, and this is a big reason he's on here. I'm kind of going back, my favorite thing to do, and that's how the channel started, is evaluating the draft and, player evaluations. That's my favorite thing to do. I think that's what I'm best at. And even before I had this channel, I was doing it. And when Tyler Boyd was a freshman at Pittsburgh, I'm saying this guy is he's that next receiver, that next big-time receiver, elite NFL receiver. And that was his freshman year. Sophomore year, he took a step down. I'm still thinking it. I've seen enough from this guy. But then he keeps going down for some reason, throughout the years. He's still a very good receiver. So I'm thinking maybe he's not going to be elite, but I was still higher on him than everyone else. And then I thought I was wrong. I thought I missed on this guy because he was kind of quiet early in his career. And now we see him. He put on some size, too, over the years, too. But now we see him, he can run some darn good routes. He can catch the ball anywhere on the field, catch the ball in traffic. Last year, he broke out big time. The year before, we were starting to see a little more. So this is scary what this guy can become. I think we're starting to get, the Bengals and that staff and maybe himself working at it, too, are starting to get what's inside of him out, because we've seen he's capable of it early years in Pittsburgh. And I think it's coming out. And this guy, it could be scary good. A.J. Green's the better receiver, no doubt. And Joe Mixon maybe more of an impact. But Tyler Boyd is an X factor because this guy can continue to break out. He can continue to get better. And the Bengals could put up some serious points with this unit they got. And we saw it last year too. I think they need to finish completing that team, but it could be scary. The Browns, it's Odell Beckham Jr. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, it could be Jarvis Landry. It could be Kareem Hunt if he comes back and ready to go. But I picked Odell. I think he's the most dangerous guy for them on the field. And, especially with Baker Mayfield now. What can he do with the quarterback like that? So I think that was a pretty obvious one. The Cowboys is Zeke. I think that's a pretty obvious one too. Depending on what happens with him off the field, I don't imagine anything serious. So in terms of suspension or anything, I think he'll be on the field for most of the year, if not all of the year. So I put him here. You could argue he's the best running back in football, catch the ball out of the backfield very well, and then you need to use him more of that. Could be Amari Cooper, but I think a pretty clear choice here with Zeke. The Broncos, I went Phillip Lindsay. I like Courtland Sutton. I expect him to break out this year, but Phillip Lindsay's, to me, is the X factor guy. Can run the ball really anywhere on the field very well. Can catch the ball out of the backfield, downfield, very quick, very sneaky. So he's my pick for the Broncos. The Lions, another receiver that I really, really like, Kenny Golladay. And this guy's going to end up being one of my biggest draft hits of all time because he's making his way up too. He was slept on big time out of NIU probably because he went to NIU, played in the MAC. Dangerous receiver, can catch the ball anywhere on the field, can run after the catch. I've seen him make spectacular catches down the side, really anywhere on the field. And this guy's on his way to easily being a top 10 receiver in the NFL. And he's really just got that it. It's something you really can't explain. You kind of just look at these guys, the way they play, and he's got that he's the X factor. He's got that it for today's NFL receiver. So I really like Kenny Galladay's game and his potential, and I hope he keeps improving because, yeah, he's one of my favorite draft hits, I think. The Packers, Davante Adams. I was thinking Aaron Jones, but I think Davante Adams is much more of that factor, really takes over. The receiver unit, they got a bunch of guys that can play, but obviously no standout guys with Davante Adams. I think today you need two number ones. I think it's really just Adams in there, but he really takes over, and he's getting better and better. Touchdown machine as well. So I think it's clearly him. But Aaron Jones, if healthy, and if given the opportunities he deserves, more carries is what I mean by that, then, yeah, he definitely can be that guy. The Texans, it's DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think I need to go any further on that. I think he's the best receiver in football, very dominant. It's just the ultimate guy where it's just you can throw the ball. Deshaun Watson's got a bad offensive line. He's just got to throw the ball up. It's third down, fourth down. You just get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. He makes something happen. Pretty obvious. I think the Colts is pretty obvious too, is T.Y. Hilton. I like Marlon Mack a lot. Another one of my draft hits. He can do so many different things, and he was really good last year, and people really don't talk about that. So it could be Marlon Mack, but T.Y. Hilton, the way he takes over games, it's almost like he took a step up again last year. And playing in the slot, playing outside, can run anywhere on the field, can run any route. You can throw him the ball anywhere on the field. He can make something happen after the catch. People know it's coming. Sometimes they still can't stop it. I think he's I've mentioned it before. I think T.Y. Hilton's underrated. I like him a lot. He's definitely their X factor, their game changer. The Jaguars is Marquise Lee. I talked about him in the breakout. I did breakout players for every team. I did offense and defense, 2 separate videos. People would just bash the Jaguars receiver unit, and they forget about Marquise Lee. Marquise Lee is a legit receiver. He was hurt last year. He's coming back. They also have some young guys that can step up. They also have a good quarterback now. So Marquise Lee is their guy. You know, if he's on the field, he's that game changer for them, that X factor. I think he's a very solid receiver, very underrated. The Chiefs, I went a little bold for the Chiefs. You expect Travis Kelce. I went with Damien Williams. You know, you look at Damien Williams last year in the short amount of time he was the guy for the Chiefs, and he was dominant, absolutely dominant. I think he averaged over 5 yards a carry, caught the ball very, very well out of the backfield, very good run after catch. Really hits the hole hard. He is fast. So I think one of the faster players in the NFL. You could argue the fastest running back too. I mean, he's an NFL running back today. He's today's NFL running back, and it's just crazy how he, maybe he's in the right system for him, but he has the speed. We've seen him break a lot of tackles too, and the vision. He has all those tools. So yeah, he's in the right system, but he has the tools. This guy in a full season being the guy for the Chiefs is a little scary. So that's why he's on this list. But Travis Kelce could be their best, offense player besides the quarterback, obviously. The Chargers, well, Melvin Gordon. It was tough between him and Keenan Allen, but I think it's Melvin Gordon. The thing with him is, maybe I'm not really a big stat, I'm not a stat watcher, but mainly just on the fields, how he improved. Like, he's showing me that he improves every year. The way he carries the ball, the way he hits the hole after hitting the hole, what he does, and catching the ball. That was a huge negative for him, and that's why maybe he dropped a little bit in the draft, because that was about a few years ago, a little more than a few years ago. But that was about the time where the running back, the value of the running back was switching a little bit, because they needed to catch the ball out of the backfield at a very high level to be a first rounder, and he couldn't, and he was still a first rounder, but he still dropped a little further than I thought. And he's improving that big time. Like, he can actually do it. Like, he couldn't catch the ball before. And he's just improving every season, whether his stats say it or not. To me, you watch him, he's got to stay healthy, and then his stats will improve. But and they do improve. You can see the averages, stuff like that. But the way he carries the ball, so I think if healthy, he takes another step this year, could be considered one of the better backs in football. The Rams wanted Brandin Cooks. Robert Woods may have outplayed him last year, and he was more consistent last year. But Brandin Cooks is that guy. This guy, Woods can run anywhere on the field too, but Brandin Cooks is just that sneaky guy, that speedy guy, elite speed guy. You can throw him that screen, you can throw him the deep ball. Another one of those receivers that really you can find him doing something anywhere on the field, whether it's before the snap where he lines up, or after, where he catches the ball on the field. So I love those types of receivers for these X factors, the most dangerous player, the game changer. So it's Brandin Cooks. I think he takes a step up this year. Last year was good. I think he could have been better. I think I expected a little better. I think it steps up this year. Miami has a very underrated receiver and player, really, in my opinion, Albert Wilson. This guy, if healthy, he's another one of those receivers that you can throw him a screen pass, he can take it. You can throw a screen. I don't know if you throw a screen pass at your own 1 yard line, but he's a guy that can take it 99 yards, I think, and he can catch the ball everywhere on the field. I think he really could be. Is he their best receiver? It's probably Kenny Stills, but I think he really can be. It's not a stretch. I think people sleep on him a little bit. So I like Albert Wilson. The Vikings is Stefon Diggs. You could argue Thielen's better. Thielen has the better stats. I'm on board, but actually I think Diggs is better because he's a do-it-all receiver. Another one of those guys. But, you can throw him the ball. You can throw it up if you wanted to. He can go get it. He's insanely good after the catch, has very good vision. He's a definition of a game changer. He's very young, too, so this guy's going to keep getting better. You could argue he's one of the better route runners in football, too. So Stefon Diggs, I think, is easily the Vikings' best offensive player. That's my opinion, and I put him in this group. He's another guy that's on his way. He could already be a top 10 receiver. He's on his way being in possibly the top 5 because how young he is and what he can do. He can do everything, and I think he's a prototype of today's NFL receiver. New England, Sony Michel. I love me some Sony Michel. Loved him out of Georgia. I was very high on him, higher than most, but he's another do-it-all running back. Mean running back that can break tackles, can run after he's through the hole too. And he was a game changer last year. Him back, and even in the Super Bowl, they couldn't put up enough points. But Sony Michel was very quietly a huge game changer in that Super Bowl. You know, what he was picking up, the extra yards he's picking up to continue the drive and keep the ball away from the Rams, and they were able to pin the Rams because of that. That's where I'm kind of getting at. And obviously, he was just a rookie. He didn't even play the whole season. He's going to continue to get better with the smart coaching staff with Tom Brady. You know, he's going to be scary good this year. I think he could be a top 5 running back in the NFL already. The Saints, a tough one. I think most people would expect Michael Thomas. I went with Alvin Kamara, though. I think Michael Thomas is a great receiver. I think he can, if he gets better, you know, how much better can he get? You know, if he gets a lot better, it's scary. You know, I'm predicting him to maybe, you know, he's young. He can step up a little bit, but we're going to see, you know, similar play, which is very good, excellent level. Alvin Kamara, I think we see improvement this year, and the reason he's an X factor is because he's a darn good receiving back, too. Not only can he run between the tackles, catch the ball anywhere on the field, downfield, you know, and he's that threat. So, and I think he gets better this year. So that's why I put him here. The Giants, super obvious. It's Saquon Barkley, another one of those running backs that can just really do it all. He already could be the best running back in football, second year in being in the NFL. So pretty obvious one. Don't need to go too much in depth about that. The Jets is Le'Veon Bell, you know, sitting out a year. People, you know, forgot about Le'Veon Bell, you know, playing against him, and they forget that, you know, he's another do-it-all back, even though maybe he's a little bigger. The one at Barkley's pretty good size too, but some of these receiving backs, you know, he's doesn't look like the prototype one, but he's a very good one. You know, if he didn't lose anything in his year off, he might be the best one. So I think he's easily, you know, Robbie Anderson I like too, but I think he's easily their game changer, their X factor. And then another former Steeler will be the Raiders, Antonio Brown. I think very obvious. Honestly, Josh Jacobs could be that, you know, that game changer for them, that X factor, because another bigger running back that can really catch the ball downfield, natural hands too. So all these receivers that the Raiders have now is that, you know, teams might be worried about that. Josh Jacobs could get open downfield, but Antonio Brown still could be the best receiver. You know, I said DeAndre Hopkins, but it could be Antonio Brown still. You know, it's definitely not a stretch. He definitely could be it. Would not be surprised one bit. The Eagles is Zach Ertz. I think pretty clear. They have a long list of running backs. We'll see who gets the most touches. I'll say Jordan Howard, but we don't really know. Solid receivers, Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if it's really the same, but he's still good. I think it's just Zach Ertz, especially him with Wentz. You know, now that it's Wentz is for sure. That's the guy. Let's go. Let's get him to stay healthy. I think him and Ertz, you know, it's a good duo there. Ertz, you've seen him take over games, you know, just completely take over games. So he's their guy there. For the Steelers, I went with JUJU Smith-Schuster. You know, I think he's their best receiver. I think he's their best offensive player, could be their best player. And I think, you know, he was a breakout last year, even though he was already good the year before, but a breakout big time last year. I think he gets even better this year because more time, another year in the NFL, got a chip on his shoulder. He's ready to show everybody, show other people that he's an elite receiver, and he can be. You know, he's another guy that he's already a top 10, but he can make his way even higher in there. So I like him. For the Steelers. The Seahawks, I want Tyler Lockett. He improved big time last year. We've seen it every year. You know, it was just solid, then kind of got better, and then he was really good last year. And he's dangerous down the sideline, absolutely dangerous. Very good at tracking the ball, very good route runner, going to continue to get better. And it could be a guy like DK Metcalf. You know, I like Chris Carson a lot, loved him last year. I think he'll do somewhat of the similar things because, you know, they're going to start feeding Rashad Penny a little bit more. I like Lockett for this, though. Could be Metcalf. Moving on to the Niners. Very tough one for the Niners. I went with George Kittle. And I mean, it's a pretty obvious choice, but it was tough because I like the running backs. Like McKinnon, to me, I can't wait to watch McKinnon in the Shanahan offense. He's another one of those running backs that could be the fastest running back in football, could be the best receiving back in football, and can run the ball. You know, he doesn't have the best vision running the ball, but he actually, for a smaller guy, can break a lot of tackles. He just needs to work on, you know, hitting the hole because I think sometimes he wants to take on the contact, but very, very dangerous running back. So I thought about him, but George Kittle, so impressive because he was a blocking tight end coming out of Iowa, and then now he's just a big-time receiving threat anywhere on the field. We've seen him take over games, just absolutely take over games, and it's scary to think, you know, he can actually get better going forward, so I thought that was the choice. Tampa Bay's Mike Evans, a dominant receiver, another one of those receivers that there's very few of, that if it's third down and you just have no choice but to throw the ball up, or fourth down, no choice but to throw the ball up and just, you know, hope for a miracle. And Mike Evans is one of those guys that I trust to have a good chance to come on with the ball And those receivers you got to love because there used to be a whole bunch of them in the NFL, and they're all kind of going away, and there's not that many of them now, and Mike Evans is one of those guys, a dominant player for them, their best player. The Titans thought about Delanie Walker because Delanie Walker was out last year, him coming back. That's Mariota's favorite target. So if both of them stay healthy, that could be something. But Derrick Henry, I think, is their X factor, their game changer. If he gets the ball enough, every year we think the Titans are going to make him their feature back, and they don't do it. So maybe they'll finally do it, which they're supposed to. We expect them to, but he's dominant. You know, he had the best average in football running the ball. You know, not enough carries. We've seen that ridiculous run against the Jags. He's capable of that, and it's not like a fluke thing. He's very capable of taking over and being a top 5 running back in the NFL. You look at it last year. You know, again, I'm not a stat guy, but I mean, if you watch too, it kind of relates there. It kind of goes together. But look at the stats, and you could determine if he got as many carries as the top guys. You know, Derrick Henry could have led the NFL in rushing yards. He led them led it in average, and he's a very scary player. You know, not a player I would want to try to tackle. And they got a couple receivers now that could step up in the spot too. And the Redskins went with Darius Geis, a running back, you know, that I thought highly of in the pre-draft process. A very good running back class. You know, I've had success, you know, evaluating the running backs. And I like Darius Geis. I like his game a lot. You know, similar to Sony Michel too. And I like Sony Michel a lot. And, you know, as long as nothing happened with that injury affected him, he's that guy. I know they're going to split a lot. Adrian Peterson, really, it's crazy. Adrian Peterson can actually still be the X Factor guy. And it could be a guy like Terry McLaurin. It could be Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson I liked a lot a couple years ago before he got hurt. I thought he was a Pro Bowl running back, a receiving threat. They got a long list of weapons here. They got Bryce Love now. Samaje Perine can run the ball. But I like Geis. You know, I like his potential. I like his upside. Could throw some teams off. So that's my pick for the Redskins. All the teams, actually. That's all the teams. So let me know your guys' thoughts. If you guys have a different opinion, everyone has a different opinion on these things. You know, let me know in the comments. Again, go to our Twitter. I talked a little bit about what went on there and what I wanted to call this video, but could not. It's kind of hard to explain in this video. So, but that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this one. A lot of content on the channel. If you haven't seen them, please check it out. And plenty more to come, and we have full coverage during the NFL season. Can't wait for that. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for the support. Goodbye.